I can't tell you what a beautiful, crisp October morning it is outside. We have a blue sky, leaves are on the ground, it's so colorful and fresh. And it was dry, and so it's not kind of like soggy cold, but that beautiful chills in the air. I hope wherever you are in the world that you are enjoying a beautiful day as well, or evening, I suppose. So happy Halloween! I love Halloween. And today I just happened to have a chance to make my traditional Halloween chili in advance, which is great because it is a full tilt boogie kind of day. Uh, Most days are full tilt boogie kind of days, but holidays particularly. So I'm going to take advantage of that free time to get this chili prepared. So this evening, it's a quick reheat while we're out trick or treating. And this is my child's first time trick or treating door to door. Before we live in a rural area, and before we would go into downtown where they have kind of a neat little parade and you can visit all the businesses and give you candy. And they have something called trunk or treats. We haven't participated in that, but they have a lot of different things going on these days. But I am older and old school, and the door to door Halloween and all that fun is just kind of, oh, it's special. So it's going to be neat to share that with her. Um, yeah, and my fingers are crossed that we remain dry tonight. I am fully prepared with an umbrella, even though I do live in the Pacific Northwest, and umbrellas are kind of a touch and go if those work. But anyways, I'll get rolling on this chili. So this again, I've actually done a video about this before. I don't think I took it all the way to the point where it thickened up, but I thought I'd have another go. I've been doing this channel for 2 years, so that very well could have been 2 years ago. I can't remember. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the meat. So as I mentioned in that first video or prior video, I have made Halloween chili, well, since I was a child. That was kind of a family tradition to have Halloween chili, and I loved being greeted by that smell when we got home from trick-or-treating. I grew up in a high mountain desert, and I am struggling to remember more than one or two times where we were trick-or-treating and we weren't, covered in our coats and hats, covered our costumes because we were walking in snow. I do remember the years where that wasn't the case, and it was super fun. But yeah, I loved returning home and could smell the Halloween chili. So this recipe that I have here is a little bit of a spin-off of that, but it's also the seasonings and kind of how I go about it is a lot different, and it works for me. So the other night, I actually made my pinto beans in advance. Or prepared them in advance. I did a quick cook on them, and then simmered them for about 2 hours. I still, as much as I love beans, I am still trying to master the art of cooking dried beans. My beans, they vary between undercooked, where I've got to throw it back on the burner and keep going, or they kind of explode a little bit. These exploded a little bit, but like anything, with more practice, it'll get easier and more consistent. But I do love the flavor of dried beans. I'm not too keen on the canned ones. So let's get rolling here on the meat. I could certainly impart the recipe as I go along. I just put a little bit of olive oil in the pot. You want a nice big stock pot to do this. Okay, and we have just a pound of ground beef going in. This year I got a 93% lean ground beef. It doesn't really matter. I kind of prefer, I think it's the 80%, just because the fat does impart beautiful flavor. even though you do drain most of it off. But, it's fun to mix it up sometimes. Okay. So my day actually started with my daughter finishing up her reading challenge for the month. She is in first grade and learning to read. And her teachers are just amazing. And her love for reading is super obvious, which is cool for me because I'm quite the bookworm. But anyways, these challenges are monthly. They get a little bonus if they complete all the challenges at the end of the month. And it's a fun way to encourage reading no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be in a specific place at a specific time. So there were fun little things like, reading a pile of leaves, read a biography this time. Read a book about spiders. It was a Halloween theme. And so we actually doubled up on the challenge this morning to finish up or to complete her worksheet. And it was a combination of reading in a dry bathtub and reading with a flashlight. And she got a real kick out of that. After I got her dressed in her Halloween costume, she jumped in the bathtub and we turned out the lights and enjoyed a little story. But she got a kick out of that, and I did too. Okay, I'm going to turn up the heat. I'm going at about medium-high heat to get this ground beef going. Yeah, it's going to render plenty of fat for flavor. And I do like to season in layers. So I will go ahead and season with just some salt and pepper. I have a cup of diced onion on the ready. Again, that was something, I was making something else, and so I just diced the onion up in advance. Don't mean to brag, but I'm getting pretty good at timing my prep to where during the week when things are quite busy, a lot of meals are a quick reheat, because I prefer hot meals, certainly for my daughter. But at the same time, do fresh and fun things in between. We rarely eat out or fast food too, and so I found that this week I was able to really just keep on top of the dishes and it just, to save time, it was so easy to be able to pop a little something, a little portion of a casserole into the oven to heat up. Let's see. Get rolling on that. I have my tea on the ready and a little, I've been feeling the classical lately. Just the harried pace of life. I adore music in general, and most times it's going on in the background or on headphones, but I find that when things get particularly harried, I love classical music because it just unwinds my brain and my ears. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that okay. And certainly, if you do celebrate Halloween wherever you are in the world, I wish you a safe and warm Halloween. If you don't, also I wish you a lovely day, regardless. I quite love a YouTube channel called what's it? Cooking History with Max Miller. Why can't I think of the name right now? Tasting History with Max Miller. Oh, he's fantastic. He has such a great personality, and I love the variety of dishes that he cooks, and and just how he plays with recreating dishes from hundreds of years ago using modern ingredients or using other recipes to make the ingredients that just really aren't available anymore. I think it's so much fun. And I think it was his channel where I learned about the tradition. Oh, maybe not. But I did learn about the tradition of trick-or-treating. And I hope I get this right. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to drain off some of this fat. And then I'm going to add the onions to saute and impart some of that beautiful flavor. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. I use that little trick of nestling a little piece of tin foil inside a bowl to drain off the fat. If you have not tried that before, it's kind of a slick way to just, once the fat, hardens up, just pull off the tin foil and give it a toss. I do wish I had the time to be able to let this simmer and let you see how thick the chili actually gets as it simmers. But that is about an hour-long process, and gosh, I can sure chat like the best of them, but I also have something that I need to be doing here at 11 o'clock. So I will probably shoot a little short when it's done, just to show how it thickens up. All right, the rest of my ingredients are relatively assembled. We have a can of diced tomatoes and a can of tomato sauce. You want to keep the juice in the diced tomatoes. Oh, I do need a cup of water as well. I've made this recipe so many times, but I still don't really have it memorized because I don't make it super often, maybe three times a year during the winter. Just get my measuring spoons on the ready. It's a combination. The seasonings are chili powder, salt and pepper, some cumin, and a little bit of sugar, because that offsets the acidity of the tomatoes. And that was a little neat trick that I learned from my Peruvian friend, oh gosh, about 15 years ago. And I started doing that with anything that's like a tomato-based sauce, and it really does work to prevent heartburn, really. Just a little dash of salt. I'd never heard of that before, but she said that's just common, and she was confused why, I didn't do that. I think I was making some pasta or some marinara sauce. And I can't say I've really had a problem with heartburn before with tomatoes, but just a tip, if that's something that, if the acidity of the tomatoes affects you, you might want to give that a little whirl. But certainly omit the sugar if you're not keen to use it. That, I do love that smell. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to overcook the meat really or make it tough, because it certainly will be cooking as it simmers. So I'll go ahead and add tomatoes and tomato sauce. I wanted so badly to can tomatoes this year, and especially because it was a nice hot summer. It was great tomato growing season or growing weather, but I just didn't get there. And honestly, my pantry is so full. Oh, I'm gonna take that one out. That's too pleasant. But yeah, my pantry's so full. I simply just don't have the room. What a problem to have. I won't complain about that. Okay. All right. We're gonna let that kind of come to temp a little bit before I add the beans. Another ingredient that I need is minced garlic. So get that ready. Oh, some folks are popping into the room. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. All right, there it goes. If you hear some funkiness in the background or some construction, they are doing some work on the roof of this building. So you might hear a little drill here and there in the background. Good timing to get that taken care of, I must say. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I think camera, wish I adjust this a little different. There we go. So you can actually see what's happening in the pot. There we are. Okay. So I added, gosh, I think it ended up being about 4 cups worth of pinto beans. I have mixed this up over the years with different kinds of beans. But really pinto they're my favorite to use. There's just a creaminess to them that just is quite lovely. All right, so start getting that to a boil. Add a little bit of garlic. Well, let's see, maybe I'll add that in a second. Start with the cumin and the black pepper. About a half teaspoon of ground black pepper, half a teaspoon of cumin, ground cumin, and okay. 1 teaspoon of salt. And let's see, I'm actually going to add a little bit more salt, a extra half teaspoon, because the beans, you know, I did not season the beans when I cooked them, because the salt inhibits the proper cooking of beans. And so I want to add a little bit of extra salt, because usually canned beans have plenty of salt in them. All right, let's see the sugar. Half tablespoon of sugar. And 1.5, I believe 1.5. 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder. And this is a very mild chili. And so that adds just a beautiful flavor. Now, if you if you don't want to use fresh onion, at this point you can add 2 tablespoons of dried minced onion in its place. That's pretty thick on the get-go. Nice. The extra beans made a difference. I'll be sure to adjust the recipe. That smells good. And then, last but not least, a little garlic. Half a teaspoon of minced garlic. This is also a really quick cleanup as well. One pot dishes, you really just can't go wrong. And let's see, get that flavor in there. And just a reminder too, you may have noticed I didn't add the garlic, or didn't saute off the garlic with the onions, and the reason why is I didn't want to risk the chance of burning it. But this, you know, it being in there, it will just add a lovely balance to the flavor. So that is literally it. I'm going to bring the chili to a boil, cover it, and then drop the temp down to simmer for about an hour. And, you know, I'll just have it ready to reheat this evening in portions. I'll top it with some crushed tortilla chips and some shredded cheddar cheese. And we also like it with a little dollop of sour cream, or plain full-fat Greek yogurt is what we're going to do tonight. But yeah, that is the Halloween chili. So it will warm our hearts and souls on All Hallows Eve. But thank you again for joining me in the kitchen. I wish you well, good health and happiness and well-being, and we shall see you next time. Cheers.